Hello everybody and welcome to lesson 3 of science for Pratom 5. Let's start. Okay, so to review on what we have done last class, let's have a look. An object is not moving because there are no forces acting on it. Number 2, an object is not moving because the resultant force acting on it is 0. Number 3, when the resultant force acting on an object is more than 0, the object moves in the same direction as the resultant force. And number 4, when the resultant force acting on an object is more than 0, the object moves in the opposite direction as the resultant force. You need to decide which of these statements are true and which of them are false. Pause the video, try and choose, and once you are ready, hit play and we will look at the answers. Okay, let's have a look. So, an object is not moving because there are no forces acting on it. That's false. Number 2, an object is not moving because the resultant force acting on it is 0. That's true. When the resultant force acting on an object is more than 0, the object moves in the same direction as the resultant force. That's true, which makes the last one, when the resultant force acting on an object is more than 0, the object moves in the opposite direction as the resultant force. That's false. Okay, today we're going to look at friction. So we have now looked at forces, we have looked at resultant forces. Today is friction. So we're going to identify ways to increase friction and identify ways to decrease friction. Same as in the last lessons, if you see the word copy in the top left corner, please pause the video, copy into your notebooks, and once you are finished, hit play and we can continue. So let's have a look. What is friction? Friction is a force that acts in the opposite direction to motion. So if this is motion, moving that way, friction will move in the opposite direction. Friction prevents a stationary object from moving. Okay, so let's just have a look at the words motion and stationary. So motion means some or other movement, moving or being moved. So motion, moving. But stationary means not moving. Okay, so friction prevents a stationary object from moving. That's true. To move a stationary object, the force exerted on the object must be greater or bigger than the friction. Yes, because friction moves in the opposite direction, and if that item or object isn't moving, the resultant force is 0. Although there are forces acting on the object, the resultant force is 0. So in order for the object to move, or for the resultant force to be greater than 0, the force applied must be bigger than the force applied by friction. So take a moment, pause the video, copy this into your notebooks, and once you're finished, hit play and we can continue. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. Example of friction. So in that picture, we have a tiled floor and a small carpet, a rug. So normally tiles are quite slippery, while rugs or carpets are not that slippery. Why is that? Well, the tile floor has a smooth surface, okay? So it's very smooth. You can just slide on it. So it's easier for you to slide on tiles. Rugs, on the other hand, has a rough surface, okay? It's not smooth, it's rough. So it is more difficult for you to slide on the rug. So that means that the friction exerted by the rug is more than the tiles. Okay, so the rug has more friction than the tiles. Please pause the video, copy this into your notebooks, and once you are finished, hit play and we can continue. Okay, let's continue. How does friction affect us? Well, let's look at the examples there. Your shoes create friction, so it allows us to walk without slipping and falling. Okay, so if you notice at the bottom of shoes, there are, it's rough, it's not smooth, okay? The reason for that is it creates more friction to protect you from falling and hurting yourself. The next one, friction allows a car or motorbike to slow down. When you apply the brakes on a vehicle, it slows down and comes to a stop eventually. Okay, so basically what happens with car and motorbike brakes, they've got two pads like this. In the middle is a plate that turns with the wheel. When you apply the brakes, those two pads press on each other. Okay, so it creates friction and that stops or that slows the vehicle down and eventually brings it to a stop. Now, friction can also cause wear and tear. New shoes have many grooves under it, but old shoes become smooth. You will notice it with your shoes as well. New shoes, they're not very slippery, okay? They protect you. But old shoes, if you look at the bottom of the shoes, your old shoes and your new shoes, you will notice that on the new shoes, there are many grooves. On the old shoes, those grooves are almost gone, okay? That is because of wear and tear. Great. Pause the video, copy this into your notebooks, and once you're finished, hit play and we can continue. Okay, let's look at the next one. How can we increase and decrease friction? Okay, car tires have grooves that increase the friction between the tires and the road. The same with our shoes. We have grooves on the soles to help increase friction. All right. You can also decrease friction. Look at that trolley. Would it be easy to move that trolley if it didn't have wheels? No, it would not. Okay, so if we add wheels to an object, it makes it easier to move, which means the friction are less. And then if we add oil to moving parts, this will decrease the friction and make the parts easier to move. Think about a bicycle chain, okay? If you touch a bicycle chain, you will notice that your hands are dirty and oily. The reason for that is for the chain to move easier and make it easier for you to pedal your bicycle. Okay, students, pause the video, copy this into your notebooks, and once you're finished, hit play and we will do a little bit of review. Okay, let's have a look at the review. True or false? If false, write the correct statement. So what you can do is in your notebooks, just write number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then look at the questions. Don't copy the questions. Just read the question and then write in your notebook, true or false. If you say it's false, you must tell me, why is it false? Okay, so pause the video, quickly answer these questions, and once you're finished, hit play again and we can continue. Okay, great. Let's have a look. So friction is a non-contact force. That's false. Basically, contact means touching, okay? Friction is a must touch in order to be a force. So that's false. Friction is a contact force. Number 2, friction acts in the same direction to motion. That's false. Friction acts in the opposite direction to motion. Number 3, the lack of friction can cause us to slip and fall. Yes, that's true. If the friction is very little, you may slip, fall, and hurt yourself. So you need to be careful. Number 4, grooves on the soles of shoes reduce friction. That's false. The grooves are there to increase friction to help you not to fall. And then number 5, brakes can increase friction and make a vehicle slow down. Yes, that is true. Okay, students, we are finished. Well done. Please remember to review this lesson, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.